And I tried Wachuma.
Oh, Wachuma.
Like Wachuma, I think, gave the most powerful psychedelic component and was incorporated into my art by 2017, which I consider 1720. Here's why: because Phantom Time Hypothesis puts us 298 years off. QAnon is an ARG likely because I think that was for the campaign for Trump to look a specific way. I think the whole assassination and all that attempts and everything that's tied to that is just a really elaborate marketing stunt. And from behind the mountain, a beam of light just went right straight into the sky. It split into 25 separate light beams and went directly over my head.
What up, everybody? Esoteric Eddie here. Namaste. What's up? Yo, I have a great episode for you today. An amazing guest, one of the most intrinsic, hardworking artists I've ever met in person. And before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been rocking with me for going on 3 years now of Esoteric Eddie content. I know I'm not always the most consistent creator, but whenever I do drop, I try to make it quality for all of you. I'm not going anywhere as long as God's putting breath in my air. I will be creating. So thank you for rocking with me for going on 3 years, and it's going to be a lifetime. So thank you. But with that being said, today's guest, again, is an amazing musical artist, an activist, I would say, and just an all-around cool guy. We're going to get into his story. I know him as 4Dizzle, 4D. His name is pronounced or spelled 4DHXH, known as the fourth dimensional hitchhiker, or as we love to know him as on the streets, Fortsk. All right, everybody say hello to Fortsk.
Yes. Hey, any attempt is worth a shot. I love it. Yeah, so it's spelled 4DHXH. That's how I pronunciate it, and it's short for fourth dimensional hitchhiker. And I feel blessed to even be part of this podcast with Esoteric Eddie, Everyday Esoteric. And I come here on the behalf of Marauder Faction, or Outer Galactic Marauder Faction, which is a group I started a while back, and be able to express ourselves in many different ways. I think it's time to at least speak with intention and be able to deliver that to the world in some way or another. And yeah, again, wow. I'm blessed to be on this podcast. I feel fortunate that we got into this point and made the arrangements and made it happen.
Yeah.
Because I know it was quite some time. We had to postpone a few weeks, but I knew it was going to be worth it. So I'm happy I made it out at the last minute, Yes. Yeah, man. The timing was divine. I knew it was going to happen when it needed to. And like I like to say, there's nothing better than the now. Yes,
but,
yes.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you again.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I always like to start the show by talking a little bit about how I met my guests, And so we've known each other for less than a year.
Yeah, I would say only maybe half the year. But despite that, it was through some shows that I was performing at. And I think he caught me a little bit before I got to know him. But it was, I'm pretty sure the first time I at least recognized you was the Oceanside Brewery.
Yeah.
That when I did a show at that spot, mostly also doing filming for Roxy. Shout out to Roxy and Rockstars.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Roxy.
Yeah. Shout out Cozy too.
Roxy.
Cozy's is hella talented. Too. Yeah.
I haven't met him, but I've heard his beats and stuff.
Oh yeah. Very talented.
So yeah, I guess it was that show. Yeah, I mean, I saw him perform, and you had one of the most interactive and explosive performances I've ever seen.
You. Oh my God.
Yeah, your music goes hard, dude. Really, it actually inspired me, re-inspired me to get musical again.
Ooh, that's I love to hear. I love just planting just little seeds when it comes to this. I'm the type of person, I eat a tamarindo from the actual plant itself. I eat the tamarindo and then I just spit out and then put it in put a little can. I want to make it into like an actual like necklace or something, or bracelet at some point.
Instead of Johnny Appleseed, you are 4D Tamarindo seed.
Oh yeah, one of the so I always had like weird ass AKAs. One of them was
same, yeah.
One of them that I had in the album was just Papi Tamarindo.
Hey,
so Papi
like
Tamarindo was like it was one of them. I even have like a version of it like on my arm, but then like what is it? Some of the other ones are so odd. Like I think when I first was getting into the scene, to like the Inland Empire hip hop scene, because that's where I'm from. I'm from the inner earth, as they call it. IE stands for inner earth. Otherwise known as the Inland Empire 909 area. Born in LA though. So I'd say yes, I am born in LA, but raised in the IE. So
real quick though, I'm sure tamarindo is one of the few things that can actually decalcify your pineal gland.
To be honest, I didn't even realize that, but I was eating them raw from the seed, around the seed. So I think I should get back into it. I feel like I haven't done it as much lately. I just need to make sure my teeth are all right.
Tamarindo papi, decalcifying the pineal gland.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, brother. All right. Yeah, we're gonna get into your story for sure, man. A lot of amazing stuff. But yeah, we know each other for a little bit, and it's been an awesome, friendship thus far, and acquaintanceship and everything. Getting to know you. But yeah, so I think I want to start. Let's start with the. We'll get into your name and everything, but let's start with just your music. How long have you been making music? What inspired you to get into music?
Okay, so I'm 30 now. Yes, I'm in the big 3-0 digital analog world. I started making music since I was I'd say half my life. So I was like 15 or so when I really started writing quite a bit.
Yeah.
At 16, I was producing a lot of stuff on Magic's Music Maker. I know that's it.
I remember that one. yeah. My homie, Art, rest in peace, Coco. He used to use that.
Yeah. And I was doing that software, recording a lot of songs before I even had the beat down. So that was kind of a weird, interesting process. I think nowadays I'll be able to do it if I really had the rhythm going through my head and out. But back then I just didn't know the process. I just had my own version of a process, and it was doing that. But I'll say this: between 15 and 16, it was mostly just presented at like school presentations. Some of these raps, sometimes I'll make a video with a bunch of different pictures with it. That's what I remember, because I was messing with a lot of Windows Movie Maker, and I was doing that for a lot of years. And so I already had like this type of editing experience before I even got into like doing it in college. But going from 16, 17, where the main thing I was making a lot of mashups. But while I was making the mashups, I was doing the raps, but I just kept writing, but I wasn't recording or putting anything out after. I didn't like how the first couple songs
mashups,
sounded.
What kind of like, what do you mean?
Mashups. So as a DJ, so I do DJ nowadays quite a bit lately. So I feel good that that's something I can say I got from my mama. For real. And that'll go into a little further.
That you're a DJ as well.
Yeah. I've been getting maybe a little bit more DJ gigs than the rapping gigs, but I feel like the rapping gigs, I'm locking in for something really big.
So you were practicing that back when you're young.
Yeah, so when I was young, I was a YouTube DJ. I had like a separate identity. I was like called DJ Guerrilla.
DJ Guerrilla?
Guerrilla, where I was going with that, like Lydia Republic or something, because that, Immortal Technique, there's that. I mean, but like if you know about the civil wars in Latino America, like there's a lot of that involvement, and it's more of like a symptom of the environment that's there,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, we'll get into
that. That we can dive into later. Going back to my story though, Yeah. So mashups is when you get the instrumental of one song with the acapellas of another.
Well, yeah.
That's the mashup.
I figured. I just meant like, how are you doing at that time?
So how I was doing it to YouTube windows open where I'm playing one and playing one on the other side.
And recording that?
And to be honest, I wasn't recording much of that. If I did, because a lot of times I was YouTube to MP3, so I would download everything to YouTube MP3 and then throw it on the Magic's Music Maker and then align them together. A lot of them were really awkward, but when I did find a song with the same BPM as the acapella, it was always pretty clean. You know, I think my favorite artist to definitely mix around was Mos Def.
Wow,
Mos Def. He to this day, I check this. I've been since Lila been going viral with it. Like I put some of Lila's vocals on Mos Def instrumentals. Like I put the Like That on Umi Says, and then on the other hand, I put Umi Says on Like That.
Wait, who's Lila?
That's it. So apparently that's his daughter. Like his daughter's like has been blowing up in like a more alt or R&B within the hip hop world. But she's a hip hop producer though on her end, you know, but like,
it's interesting though. When I was really young, I was always into music. Yeah. When I was like in elementary, I don't even know like how or why I started doing this, but I used to get my mom's voice or headset recorder, you know, like the headset thing she would use for her work.
Oh, and then like a telemarketing?
I don't know. Well, she was like into like property management and shit. I don't know. She just had one of those things, you know, because she was busy. So she'd take her phone calls and then have the little microphone right there. Okay. But I would take that thing, right? And then
work ethic, though.
I would,
Work ethic, Eddie.
yeah, my parents are busybodies for sure. I got a lot of my work ethic from them. Yes. But I would take that headset with the microphone and I would record like for example, this is one that I did for a real example. I got my MP3 in my headphone and I recorded Metallica's One. Oh yeah. You know? And then I recorded that intro and then I recorded a YouTube video of the old school Gumby cartoon. You know Gumby?
I recognize the character and the claymation, but I didn't watch the show. I just
the show is such a trip, dude. Fucking throw down some mushrooms and watch it. It's fucking hilarious. Oh my god! There's an episode where he goes to the moon, and so I recorded that episode of him going to the moon because there's like trippy little sounds and shit like that. So I did like a little mashup, and I used to just love listening to it. Like I was like in like
listening to the audio from the Gumby cartoon with the.
Well, I love listening to what I did, the creation. You know, like I was like this sounds
but you mashed
sick.
them up.
Like just listening. Like Gumby, like we're going to the moon as like Metallica's like playing in the background. So it's interesting, right? Like how we like find these things when we're young. But you mentioned your mom was doing this. Well,
she before leaving El Salvador, she said she was messing with tapes, like 8-track tapes, and blending them together, type of thing. So I mean in the passed down. Like low-key talent in sense to something maybe she didn't like fully enact upon, but now I know with that passed down to me, you know, I want to be able to live it out, make a living from it, you know. I'd say that there's that, and you know, and you know, I have a broadcasting talent too, so that's part of why I kind of utilize the radio and whatever connections I have through the radio. They actually been moving spots because I was in the IE. There was a station called KCAA, so I was doing like the news for NBC type of thing. So that basically,
were you doing the news for NBC?
Yeah, for NBC out there and out in that area. So it went from It went from like the northern IE, North San Bernardino, all the way down to like Temecula. So so
would you be on the market like today? We've got a murder and robbery, or like
there's so much. There's way too much going on.
People out here in the IE are wilding out.
Quite literally, no. I had to cover every like most of like the like minute details of the line fire when it was going on. It was really close to where I stayed. But yeah.
The line fire.
No, someone actually just started, like they started 3 fires. 2 of them got put out, but the last one didn't. And that one spread. And I saw as it was first starting. And so I remember driving to the area.
Sorry, was that the one that was right next to the 15?
Basically blocking Big Bear. So Big Bear to the road to Big Bear to this day is still blocked.
Oh shit!
So I think they're still clearing out stuff from the fire itself. I think there's remnants of it left, but it's on a hill or something that they can't really reach to very well. So a lot's been destroyed through those wildfires. Like that's just a huge. That was a part of the reality, like just heat and more fires from there. You know, I remember living in 2003 when growing up in Rancho, like you know. When they were literally living up in the estate, like that area, the most bougie area you can think of. The fires going on, but I think I saw a map too. It was like 3 times bigger than the line fire too. So it was still because it spreaded from like the LA mountains too.
Epic, right?
Yeah, and as it was going on, the firefighters were staying around the area or staying around the house or something, and they threw a backfire. And I remember like one of the neighbors frantically knocking. We went outside, and the flames were taller than the house.
Shit.
I was like, I was just like stunned by that sight, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and it's wild to just see the elements, you know, at its fullest, where you have virtually no control of it, because that ended up burning houses down the street, but it didn't burn the house down, even though the flames were right behind it.
Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
Like how like the excess heat will be like hotter than.
Yeah, I don't know much about the logic of fighting fire with fire.
I don't know shit about it, bro. I know how to light some weed.
Right? Light fire with some fire.
No, you know what's funny though? We were actually like borderline pyromaniacs when we were kids.
Oh
like that was actually a hobby of ours. Like me and my cousins, that was what we would do. We'd meet up and be like, what can we burn today? Like for real, like we'd stack up like heaps of shit and just fucking throw fire at it, gasoline. We used to love starting a bonfire and then filling up water bottles of gasoline, like lawnmower gasoline, and just throwing it in there, dude. The fucking
Molotov
loudest
cocktail.
Dude, the loudest firecracker ever, you know?
Oh my God.
Like, yeah. But yeah, I had to stop that. Gave up that hobby. But all right, let's get back into the story, man.
I understand.
So
what was the last part? Where were we left?
So you're 15, 16, you're mashing stuff up.
Oh yeah,
you're writing bars.
But not a whole lot was going on by then. Yeah. Sorry for talking over you. I know I tend to lock in.
I just want to understand, you know, what actually caused you to want to become a music artist. When did that happen?
Okay. So by the time I was done with the mashups, and I was doing drums too. I did drum lessons from 15 to 17. Okay. So around that point, like all this writing and stuff, I was just inactive as an artist, not consistent, not really recording much. But by the time I was 19, I was living in the dorms. I was in Buffalo. I went to school in Buffalo, SUNY, State University in New York, and University at Buffalo. And my second year there, I started there. And someone was a roommate to a rapper that I ended up really working with, right? And he was telling me, oh, my roommate raps and stuff. And I was like, okay. And when I finally met him, I was like really impressed with the stuff that he put out. His name is Black Kush, BLAQ Kush. Black Kush, I'd say, has some of the most like you would almost think obscure, but there's so many entendres to each bar that, like, you know, everything he wrote was really well thought out, you know. And
okay.
That right there kind of re-inspired me, like, to be like, oh, hey, I do beats, even though I wasn't really doing many beats at the time, but I really wanted to do something that to be part of what Kush was doing at the time, you know. And I was I had a crack that fell, but I didn't have the mixing skills to get a beat sounding like really well done, you know. The best beats I feel like I make were kind of on the spur of like flipping one sample on the really good part and making something out of that.
Yeah, as we were saying before the interview, dude, it's like, you know, 4D asked me, you know, what's, in my opinion, the most discouraging part of being a rapper? And my answer was, making quality music,
Quality sound.
like quality sounding music. That was my biggest frustration, is like, fuck, dude, because I was always, like I was saying, broke, dealing with broke equipment, shitty equipment, used equipment, not enough knowledge. But
think about the practicality of it. You were able to get it any way you had it. When you work around your limitations, because that tends to happen with the videos. Like, I literally have like 3 clients I'm circulating, and I'm working off of 1 battery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing? I like even at my best, I know I can be a mess. So I have to really like consistently work on myself and perfect as we go. Yeah. So when you have things that you might see as limitations, it shouldn't stop you from getting the message that you want out there, and you're able to do this with the content you got now, and a platform. So even then, if you're recording something for fun or have something that you're itching to say, you already have those who will listen, offer it, because they just know you for who you are. Yeah, for me, I wanted to get known through the music and the music videos I was making. So seeing what Black Kush did inspired me to start writing, right? And then I was watching a lot of like the Flying Lotus, like Rough Mercy's animations on like Flying Lotus type of stuff, or Underachiever's music video, like This Is Butter, like kind of edits. And that inspired me to change majors in the middle of college. I was like, oh yeah, I'm done with trying to be a psychologist or social worker. I want to go into, the field of like video production or music production, so because the media studies had access to audio lab and access to video equipment. So I was already like, okay, let me actually do something with this, And throughout those years, like, recording Kush, like bless him to the end, like for real, like always, like, to the next life, for real, next life and bliss, like I appreciate him to the fullest, and us working on that together, making some music videos and such from it, like that pushed me to want to take it to another level. And he finally told me. So this is funny. So I had a poem that I wrote to someone that I was into, and I never showed it to her. So it was just kind of in the works. And then we played. So you probably remember Atmosphere, Sound is Vibration, the instrumental. But there was a Capital Steez version where it was just called Vibratings, and they were playing that instrumental, that version of which is not really just the same beat essentially. There were just maybe like cuts throughout because Steez had a really specific way of getting his, his point across. R.I.P. to him as well,
R.I.P.
So Vibratings, like, so I did the poem to Vibratings, and I think I showed it live to Kush and one of the roommates who were there. But he was just like, yo, just record that shit and put it out. And I was just all like, he kept it as simple as possible when he told me that. I'm like, all right, I think it sounds like it's time. I look up to this guy's music and what he does and this was the first time I showed him something where he's all like, push through with it, Yeah. And by that point, I remember lending him a mic, right? And he really recorded like 2 or 3 albums off of it, like, and within like 4 months. I don't know. He was making a lot of stuff and having like almost a 4.0. I don't know how he does it. Like, that's. You
guys are still cool today? You still around?
Yeah. We still talk. I actually talked to him like around last Sunday or so.
Okay.
So he's based in Long Island, Albany. He's working with August Fanon right now with some of the videos. So if you see some of like the anime flips with on August Fanon stuff, that's Black Kush.
Okay.
I mean? So
how did it feel recording your first song?
Recording the first song. Oh my gosh. You're talking about the first that I liked or the first that
was the actual first one? Yeah, that poem one. How did that feel?
The poem. Oh, okay. So yeah, I remember that like the summer was starting. I was doing an internship at a record label. Those stories, it was pretty underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to shout out that label.
Yeah,
I'll shout out the artists that they were managed by like Blueprint and them. Blueprint was I guess doing doing a tour through there. Louis Logic too.
Yeah.
So there was quite a few underground heads that were around there.
Yeah.
And Matt Dukes is a good artist. He and Fresh Kills, you know. So I'll give them the credit that just the experience at the label itself was not it. So anyways, that's besides the point. Around that same time, I was recording on the Samsung mic that I did lend to Kush, but I got it back for the summer. And I was staying at instead of staying off campus, I moved off campus and was staying on this block, Lisbon in Buffalo. It's quite an interesting area. But next door there was someone named Dylan XL. He's actually based in Cali nowadays, but he was from right around there. So he was actual resident in Buffalo. I started recording with him throughout the summer, that summer, and we had a couple joints where we were going like back and forth with bars and blending each other's vocals and stuff. So I even have songs from like 2020, 2021 where I blend my vocals with his and have him have his own verse. Shout out to Dylan XL for real. Like, so yeah, like Dylan was a super talented Jamaican dude from Buffalo, you know, with the singing. He's he's had a really melodic flow, but if he wanted to do like straight bars, he was just as good at either or.
Mm-hmm.
But recording with him was probably one of the first, and then Amandeep, which was this Sikh homie that I knew from campus who grew up he said he grew up in the Himalayas, you know. So working with them kind of pushed me to finally record the song that I wrote that poem to, because it took me time to actually feel like I wanted to record something that I knew I was going to be good at, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was first kind of punching in till I get the flow right, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I said like a weird ass booth in the closet where it was just like a piece of shelf being held by like two shoelaces and the little mic stand.
Yeah.
That was so fun. But recording like that, you know, it really humbled me, or figure out like practical ways to work around the limitations, as I said.
Yeah.
And finally recording that song like the first time around, I thought it was decent, but it didn't feel like ready to put out. So a few months later, I know Kush brought in the Audio Technica mic, and he was recording on that, and he brought it into the studio, or at least I moved to another spot at that point. I go into I recorded it on that Audio Technica, and I did it where I actually did the take all the way through rather than in bits and pieces like I originally recorded it. So I put that within a LP I put out. It was like 20 songs. It's not on any streaming platforms. I was going to put it on Bandcamp, but I'm hesitant because a lot of it was just beats I got from like old instrumentals. So there was stuff I found on YouTube because I was always doing the mashups anyways. But any instrumentals that I found that I really liked writing to that were hella obscure too. I would get one from The Prodigy or RP Boo, which is like a juke artist. So I really like messed with the Chicago juke like sound and wanting to rap on those for some reason. I think it's because it was like kind of offbeat already, and my flow was really already kind of off kilter at the time.
Okay.
Nowadays I know how to be really in pocket, as you can tell. But
yeah, we were the same. We were like just yanking beats off of YouTube. Like we the producers we really like messed with were like Labmatic. What's that dude's name? DJ Grumble. Yeah, like a couple other people were like, we would just always sing whenever they would drop, and just steal their beats and make songs with them and stuff. But
was it when the type beats thing was a huge thing?
No, this was before that, dude. This was way before that. This was like 2009.
Oh my god!
Like
that's the Dat Piff days.
Yeah. We just this was like early YouTube days, you know. Early YouTube days. We just found a couple producers that were like just dropping shit. Labmatic, DJ Grumble, and we just like made music off of their shit, you know, just ripping beats off YouTube. But yeah, so you're doing all this with these guys. You put out this poem track. Now,
yeah, it was put within the whole LP. So I just basically had like a project. It was called Nomad's Land. That's not out on any streaming platforms. It was out only on SoundCloud for the time being. But I was able to get it to quite a few people and stuff like that. the eye that's on the back of my neck represents that first album. This
Really?
thing.
Let's check it out. Huh. Badass, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you see it?
Yeah. It's very colorful, yeah.
But the thing is, just certain moments in my life that are tied to the music itself, just like the impact that it's made, the people that's been able to inspire, or the or just like the things that come out of it. Like I have a producer. Shout out to Kid Process. Kid Process is one of the most important producers to my current sound, and just to the inspiration that came about through there. From working with him. But
yeah.
It's not working. No.
Let me see. Yeah, dude.
And,
yeah, it's got all wet, huh?
No worries. Where was I going with that? So he currently has a baby out. The baby drop, the beat drop.
He's got a baby out.
The baby's out, and and the whole story of that, of he and the baby mom meeting, like that's like. All that like is tied to someone accidentally leaving my CD behind in her car. She started listening to that. She followed me through there, and then she found him through that connection and factor. Yeah. And now, when baby exists, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna say I'm the reason that the baby came about. And that's none of that. I'm just happy that the music, like I said, planted that one little seed that helped lead. Into this reality that we live today.
It all fractalizes. It all plays a part. I have a similar story, and not as divine, but similar in results. Mm-hmm. I remember I was at the Cowshed, the local dive bar in San Marcos. Mm-hmm. And this was during my crazy dog days as of recently, last summer.
Last summer, okay.
And I was just drunk, faded, and I ran into my old school homegirl. And she was there, and she had just met a guy that night. She was like hitting it off with this one guy, and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling his vibe at first. I was kind of clowning him, trolling him a little bit, and then, but I had like a 30-pack of Coors Light in my car, and
oh my God,
we were all kind of, he grew on me, so I was like, hey, fuck it, you two want to go like drink some beers in my car? And they're like, all right, yeah, you got beers? I'm like, yeah, fuck it. So we're just like sitting in my car, they're in the back, kind of like, getting to know each other, and I'm just playing the host in the front, like just bumping music. We're just all like listening to music, drinking beers. Long story short, they end up falling in love, getting into a relationship, and she just had a baby.
Oh, nice.
They just had a child. So my crazy Coors Light hosting antics brought life into this world.
That's definitely no.
We both got that creation.
That creation. That butterfly effect, the little sliver of something that you do changing someone's life. It happens for better or for worse, throughout our lifetime. But just acknowledging that we're able to have that kind of impact is really profound and moving for anyone that feels like that they don't matter in this world. I want anyone who right now feels like they don't matter or feels like they're not seen to be able to look at themselves and see that you have every potential to make something happen, to make something different in anyone's lives that you come across. Like, it's not, it might be so simple, but you never know until much further down the line, the seeds that you plant in this world. So don't ever feel behind. And, the fact that you exist right now is an indication that you're meant to be here. So thank you for even viewing and being part of this as well. You're part of our discussion. So that's the funny part too. I was listening to his podcast in the morning of his Saturn return podcast, and I was asleep for the first 20 minutes. And I thought I was on the phone with him. I'm like, am I hearing you on the phone right now? But I'm literally hearing you on the phone because I have it playing alongside the bed while. Yeah. So I thought I was talking directly to him the whole time. So that was a wild version of channeling. I felt like I was in the astral projected realm, or as the CIA would call it, remote viewing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Creation elation Just wanted to say that. I feel like that's
Creation elation.
Yeah. We got that creation elation.
Creation
I
elation.
forgot what elation means, but I know we got
It sounds like a cool shirt.
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
can put on the
That
back.
creation elation, brother. Yeah, you said a lot. And look, we're gonna get deep right now. Everybody listening, I just wanted to start with your general background in music.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of good stuff to say, a lot of deep introspective things to say and share.
I know. I'm only like 1/5 in on that story, so I that's why I'm like, I got to figure out that nutshell to really tell it.
No, it's all good. You know, it's all good.
I give you chapters.
The chapters, but I just wanted to add to this whole creation elation thing. Actually, I just found out literally right before you came here that a girl that I grew up with, not close, but she was like, you know, a hood homie, you know, she just passed away last week and 29 years old, and she just had a 4-month-old baby. Yeah, and so it's like, it's deep, man. You know, it's like, I guess her purpose was fulfilled. I don't know, like she came here, she did her thing, she had the baby, and then she left, you know, like just that quick, just like that, you know. But nobody suffers more than the living. And once your purpose is fulfilled, your purpose is fulfilled, and I guess you can only be grateful that you were able to do that, right?
It's just wild how few people know, maybe until moments before death, never their purpose has been fulfilled. You know?
Mission accomplished.
Mission
Esoteric Eddie out.
Out. Oh my God.
That's kind of why I like to be lazy some days, because I'm like, nah, I ain't doing shit today because I might accomplish my mission. I ain't ready to go. Just gotta have some lazy days. Stretch it out. God's like, hurry up. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm waiting a little longer.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know, but
hey, no, take your time with things. I mean, you took your time with this, and now you have a foundation built for what you truly want to get going with. You know.
Yes, sir.
But I know you already established yourself really well. So I admire that and look up to that. You know.
Thank you.
So
thank you, man.
Even then, you mentioned the self-employment, being able to make a full-time living on it. You know, I'm still like, building one block at a time with that, and hoping that I get over that wall. I really do want to make a living doing what I love doing. That's really my ultimate goal. The fame and all that, I feel like when I was younger, it felt like it mattered, but that just resulted in fudging the numbers, and putting like an impression of popularity there that's not even fully.
It's
there,
silly, dude. It's so silly.
Yeah,
I thought about that today. Actually,
but I take accountability for being silly like that.
Well, I mean, like the system is silly, like this stuff. Yeah. Everything's so silly. Like I was like, I thought about that today. I was going to do a plumbing job today, and I had to go through like a security gate.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're just stressing me. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, where's your license? Where's this? Where's that? And I'm just like, motherfucker, like, let me just go fix this shit really quick. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just funny, the little games we play here on Earth, the little roles we play. It's like, motherfucker, I can see through the costume. You're not guarding shit.
Gatekeeping is a wild thing, because I understand in certain places where safety does matter. Yeah. Safety does matter, and there's people who have the resources to be able to enact that safety, to have gatekeeping, But when it comes to it in like in the musical genre sense or scene type of thing, even considering like it's like you think of it like in sense of hip hop, like, because I know even then when I was listening to a lot of underground, I was such a snob about it, and so I was like, this is not real hip hop, but they all encapsulate one organism of hip hop, which is just many voices of the world speaking their truth, and consciously expressing that, whether their lyrics are deemed conscious or not, Yeah,
I mean, we're all humans. We're all spiritual.
I think I like
beings.
Something that's creatively ignorant than intellectually generic. That's how I feel.
I love that. Yeah, same, dude. Same. Like, I grew up being the same way, snobby hip hop head, trying to make the most lyrical fucking thing possible, but nowadays I focus less on the message and lyricism and more on the vibe. can I create a vibe that can actually change somebody's mood?
Yeah.
You know, for the better. Fuck it. Even if I'm just saying, shake that ass, bitch, show me what you got. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, but can that vibe, can that energy still uplift them?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I focus more on these days. But, yeah, so I just want to...
Being uplifting is important. With this
Yeah.
music, empowering.
Yeah,
I always
empowering.
have a lot of, I feel like uplifting music, you know, keeps us alive in some sense or another. But even then, yeah, I listen to just as much of that as depressing music. So, you know, it's a
oh my gosh,
it's a thing.
Dude,
it's a thing regardless. It's just important that have a duality in it. But
yeah. Oh yeah.
to at least elicit an emotion that you're feeling. To elicit that emotion that you're feeling is probably one of the main goals when it comes to the music, at least at a musical theory, a listening level and such, you know?
Yeah, dude.
In that sort of sense, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, so I just want to wrap up your background in music, and then I want to get into, like, where did this, I guess, psychedelic part of your music come from? I would call it psychedelic. Where did this psychedelic, sacred geometry, consciousness, when did that all start coming into play?
No, I mean, I'd say, yes, it involves psychedelics, but there's levels to it, you know? In college, first making the music, it was a handful of experiences with acid, but despite that, it added more to the visual creativity. So it was that. Because the music sound, I was still learning how to mix. I didn't even know how to mix vocals very well. I just was making it loud and beat like low because I didn't know how to equalize and all that. So, where I was going. So, going further in by 2015, 2016, when I could say that, like, you know, college almost over. I had a class where I was able to maneuver around and still be able to finish college and all, and graduate and all. Like, trust me, I just had to. I learned to exploit the college system to be able to have the kind of classes I want without doing too much work. You know, especially media studies, art degrees.
Yeah.
You know, you showing up to the class might get you an A. You know, to be honest. So
college is a joke sometimes, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's one of the reasons I left. I felt like it was just high school 2.0.
2.0, that's funny. Yeah, well, that's the main thing is, if you thought you were the big man on campus, you're still just you know, outside of there, you have to do your own groundwork to get to another level. You know, being popular in one place doesn't mean anything in other places.
Yeah,
that
it's
you're
like, we don't know you, motherfucker. Like, this ain't your hometown high school. Like, how's the saying go? Damn, homie, in high school you was the man, homie.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of messed up videos that have the person like on opiates crashed out,
like
and then you hear that audio bit. I'm like, oh man, that's rough.
So
psychedelic
acids,
component. So probably by like 2015, 2016, I remember having I was microdosing with the shrooms for a bit, and then that added the other visual component where I drew like stuff like the main character that's on my chest. You know, I drew that with a tesseract, like basically the tesseract, the Merkaba of my creature. Wow. So my creature is is definitively a machine elf. I'll probably send him the graphics so you can put it on screen.
Yeah. Is it like the green with the eyes?
The actually is that creature with the head, you know, an extension of myself, maybe pieces of the id, pieces of the.
It's so funny how when we just scribble and draw weird shit, like somehow it ends up being like a weird part of us.
Yeah, I think I remember just doing a little over a microdose and playing like some of my songs and then drawing the creature from there. So I remember drawing like 6 creatures that night, and that night was kind of pivotal to me making the creature itself. I like I said, the other 5 creatures, like most of them weren't colored in except for the one I did for Black Kush. But I was really inspired at that point. I think I was a hell inspired by when Zach Fox was doing the caricatures for Awful Records. So he was drawing like weird little monster creatures to represent father or Abra or Playboy Cardi and all of them. So by the time I came across Zach Fox in real life, I knew for a fact that like I already handed him a shirt. He wasn't huge a household name at the time.
Okay.
By the time like a couple years after, that's when he got into the stand up and then of course Abbott, and Abbott, he's most known for that,
Okay.
Tariq, that.
I'm not too well versed on all of that history.
No worries. I mean, for anyone who probably does recognize, that's that. It's just seeing that inspiration. So that was an inspiration from that. But so the psychedelic component like is really from the way I perceive visual art.
Okay.
So even without psychedelics, I just already had a mind that was leaning towards it. Or had the interest in it. And I think the biggest psychedelic component out of all those was a bit later after college, closer to me being 25.
Yeah.
I was first coming out here, and but I was going back and forth to shows in LA, and I tried Wachuma. So Wachuma, I think, gave the most powerful psychedelic component and was incorporated into my art. I haven't done Wachuma since 2019, a little bit before 2020 maybe. I might have did a little. Wait, did I have a tour? 2019 because I did a tour out there.
What happened after you did the Wachuma?
Oh my god. I'll put it in the nutshell. I was putting in a horchata that I had mixed with a maracuya juice, and it was I think he gave me 3 spoonfuls of it, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna open up. Your heart's gonna open up just for a little bit." In an hour from now, you'll be feeling it. I'm like, okay. And I thought was this gonna be like a mild body high or something, whatever I felt on ayahuasca. Because on ayahuasca, I didn't do the brew, but I smoked it in like a joint. So I think I just had a presumption that, this is gonna be a smooth trip. And golly, I was wrong. By the time I was done drinking that, because I just kind of drank the whole thing within 10 minutes. I remember when people were performing. Shout out to Stephen the Martyr. I think that's the main performer I still talk to. Yes, that dude, yeah. You know what's up? Yeah, Stephen the Martyr. That was the first time I met him. I was zooted on the Wachuma, so I saw him perform. This moment, this was the moment where I'm like, oh wow, this is wild. So he's performing, has all the everyone really vibe into it. But towards the end of the performance, he had everyone get their arms around each other, and then and cuddle into a compressed circle, And then he's all like. And he had everyone breathe with him. So he's like, we're one lung. And I thought, Wachuma? That took me. I was like, no. My mind was blown. Now. My mind was blown, even though there's a level of being able to do it in performances and get people to do shit, But that was really cool right there. So shout out to Stephen Martin with that. I remember, cotton mouth. After what is it? Yeah, is there still some?
Yes.
Oh shoot. Put it over here, actually. No wiring.
The menace.
ADHD acting up always. So if someone's on here going this fool been sidetracking the whole interview, what is wrong with this fool? Just know there's ADHD and OCD that was not treated. Okay, I was able to just not treat it while growing up, but it definitely made me different from the crowd. But
so does anybody ever call you instead of 40HD to ADHD
No, but I know Roxy been saying 40HD quite a bit.
40HD, or instead of 40,
so
80.
Yeah, that's funny to even think about. But 40HD sounds like a cool visual, maybe extension of my brand or something. I could probably try with that, even though OGMF is the main one, Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually was going to ask you this because I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm like, you definitely have that air about you, ADHD, and I wouldn't say it in a negative way, but you definitely seem like you're passionate about a lot of things, and your mind does go a lot of places.
I have to be moderated a little bit, like someone else.
So I wanted to ask, how were you as a kid? Like, was this a problem for you as a kid, or was this like a good thing? Or?
I think I just didn't fit in with most people, you know, so I didn't really have many friends till like after I came into college, and even then college was mostly acquaintances, you know, but there's some valuable networks I was able to get from that. Going back,
did you have a best friend when you were like a little kid?
I feel like they just cycled through. Like certain ones maybe were friends for maybe a year or two, and I maybe hear from them once in the blue moon.
So you feel like you're kind of just always on your own or something?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. I mean, my parents took good care of me, you know. I mean, they didn't put me on the Ritalin or Adderall or Valium or all the other stuff that most of the kids were on, and you know, because I grew up in that generation. I'm a 94 baby, you know.
Me too.
So, yep, you already know. See, 94.
And so much
94
more.
infinity.
Yeah, dog, I didn't have ADHD. I mean, I don't know. I've never been diagnosed for anything.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with ADHD and like borderline OCD. It was like mainly those two. But since they didn't put me on the medication, I was just more like, as a kid, I think I just fixated a lot on stuff.
Yeah,
stutter quite a bit, but that's probably maybe because I'm stoned. I'm just kidding. Maybe a little bit of stuttering. I see what it happens even to this day, but where I would speak faster than I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest components. I'm speaking faster than I think. It hurts rapping sometimes because then you rush, but if you hone in and utilize it well, it puts you in pocket, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking about this recently. Like, I don't know what I had, but like, I just, for the life of me, could not give a fuck about school. Like, I just couldn't, dude. Like there'd be like little moments, but like something in me was just like, fuck school, fuck authority, fuck homework. Like literally, like my teachers would give me my homework and I would just crumple it and throw it right in my backpack and just go right back to like doodling or whatever the fuck. But I think it played a huge role in me becoming like the man that I am today, like being self-independent, you know, self-employed, all these different things, you know. But I just think, like, I'm curious, like, what was that? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't for the life of me give a fuck about school.
It's weird because it's like I did well in school. I mean, I had so many hiccups. So trust me, it's not. I just mean overall, like. But I feel like I only did well because I felt like I was able to memorize some of the information, just for that time being. But when it came to certain subjects, I just blanked out. Like I think I did the same math class like 3 different times from high school to college. So
I was in that boat. I
was just trying to get out of that, or what is it? Get the general stuff done with, so then I have time to do the audio lab and you know all this stuff with the cameras and such. And I know you were going back to what I was originally on, being a kid, what I was like as a kid. I think despite hyperfixating on something, I was known as a rambler. So people knew me as someone who rambled quite a bit. So there's that. I'm sure y'all got a glimpse of the rambling. Known for rambling and yeah, I think just I didn't have a high self-esteem on top of that. So I think just having a low self-esteem mixed with an overactive mind, you know, it's a component for a creative genius, but also for a dork.
I'm the same, bro. I'm the same. I was like, it's funny because you look at guys like us who glue up. You know what I mean?
Glue up.
You know what I mean? Like, but I was the same, bro. Like, I was like shy. I was shy, but not because I didn't have like confidence. I was shy because like I didn't like people, and I was like, y'all don't deserve my energy, like, you know. Deserve. Yeah, and so, but you looking at us now, you would never be able to tell because, like, you know, we got big personalities. We don't mind. Like, I see you running around on stage, like you doing your thing. You know what I mean? And me, I don't give a fuck. I'm always doing my thing. So it's like it's interesting how people like us, kids like us. It's lovely. I would say amazing how kids like us can find themselves at some point in life and then really, really activate their power.
Of course.
And so I guess with that, when was your power activated? When did 4D, when did become a thing?
I feel like because I like, but so by the time college is over, I'm out. I'm getting into the local hip hop scene and getting to know all the heads. Noah James and Curtis King were the ones who did most of the shows out there and stuff at the time. Common Ground, that's what they were called at the time. They would have a lot of guests like Bodega Bams pop up and such, and there was a lot of different scenes and stuff. And I feel like though, like my main power coming into grips with it, or seeing that people were receptive to 4D, or so to speak, was just whenever I performed, like when I performed in some of the first shows that I was able to lock into, and I'd say that was maybe between 2017, 2018, because like by 2016, I already had an idea of how I had my voice found, but my sound was still yet to be found. And by 2017, which I consider 1720, here's why: because Phantom Time Hypothesis puts us 298 years off with everything said. That's why I don't believe in astrology very much. But the 298 years off on the Gregorian calendar that was made from the dark ages to the end of dark ages, they skipped the 298 years, so in the year 2017, it was 1720. So I did a whole made a whole ARG back at that point in time when I was working.
I just need to know, do I have to go to work tomorrow? Because if we're like behind 200 years, I'm not going to fucking work. The same bitch, it is not Thursday. Whoa. Sorry, it's actually 200 years ago. So I'll see you.
Oh my God. I think whatever you have scheduled, whatever scheduled, like you just go by the day and hours, and then what you see in yourself.
The constellations. Hey, you see the constellation Sirius once it's over here, that's when I'll show up, all right?
When the sun is on this side of the horizon. So
when you feel a tickle in your cooch, that's when I'm coming.
when the pubic hair straightens.
Oh shit.
So where did this start?
Damn, yeah.
Where we started.
Yes, you were a kid, and then when you found your power as 4D.
Yeah, mostly through performing. I was doing a lot of open mics at that point.
2017 was 20, that thing too.
2017 I was talking about Phantom Time Hypothesis at that point. So I mean, people know about Phantom Time Hypothesis. I could say that maybe there's not a whole lot of evidence on it, but just the state of the world at that point could call for it, especially since they changed the Bible through Council of Nicaea at that time. So yeah, sometimes I randomly unveil a historian and randomly, but I know you would know a lot of his history. You got like volumes of history, so that I need to read upon. See, I'm a visual learner, so I just be watching videos. So honestly, I have not been reading for a really long time. I've never been able to read for fun. At least since like I haven't been able to read for fun since like elementary school.
Shit, me neither, dog. I don't read for fun. I read to save humanity.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point.
No, but yeah, good. So going back to this, I want to know, so what about this era made you become 4D?
In the era of performing.
Just this 2017 era, you said around that time?
So 2017, like that was the first time I really saw that like people were enjoying the performances, and I was able to have my voice and slowly get into my sound. But by 2019, that's when I was first getting into the sound for sure. And around that Wachuma days, it was when I was hanging out with another very specific artist at that point in time, who I know he produced the first two albums. We didn't go out on good terms, but I think at this point we were able to reconcile. So I appreciate him to that degree for being involved in that part of my music journey. But like I feel like I have to have little blips and moments where I feel back to myself. Like lately I've been writing. I was showing him stuff that I was writing earlier. Like I wrote like 4 songs like yesterday, like, wow. Being able to write like 4 songs. And I wasn't able to write for like 4 or 5 weeks before. I haven't been able to write like at least a song. I was writing news reports all the time, so I was missing out on putting my energy towards my craft. You know, because any emotion that you feel, that's another thing too. Any emotion that you feel that's really intense, channel that into your art to make some of your best work. You know, and yeah, for me, you know, a strong feeling of love and loneliness were like some of the main driving factors of my early music. But as I grew out of that a little more, it became more like empowering many others and being able to have a music where it brings people together. You know, I think ultimately having that will state volumes. Like, you know, we'll be able to. That's that music you're able to put out. That's the music you're able to connect at a level. And I know people do it for themselves. I respect that 100%. I know most artists that do it just for themselves. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And blessed to be to them the ones who were able to make the most amazing things through that, you know?
Yeah.
But as I say, channel whatever you feel deeply about and you'll get it through, you know? So I hope that can creatively inspire somebody, whoever's watching and wants to build off of that, you know? I want people to see that, like, more than just myself. Like I said, I just want to plant the seed of that, you know? Like, I may not be able to change the world, but the people, hopefully it can inspire someone who could change the world. I know that's a very Tupac type of quote. Yeah. So I don't even need to make reference. I see the Machiavelli there. So I gotta get
one of my favorite albums
homage,
ever,
the
dude.
Dead Prez, all these stuff, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, dude. No, wonderful message, man. So with that being said, how did you come up with the name? Like, how did you come up with the name? And how did that pronunciation come about?
So I think that's the thing too, because I met, you know, I was mentioning about the performance and that performing at that point. So by the 1720 point, I was trying to figure out the name still. I already had Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker for a while. Actually, the name in 2013 or 2014 to like 2017 was Yvonne the Nomad Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker.
Jeez.
It was a whole long name. And Yvonne the Nomad, you know, was the first name. But going back, my name is Yvonne. So anyone who wants to know, what the hell is his name? Why does he call himself? Whoo! Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker. That more or less came about by 2016 when I was introducing myself to people in the IE. So I was saying I'm on Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker, and then people were just like 4D or 4DH, you know.
I like 4Dizzle.
4Dizzle. I remember having 4DZ at one point for some reason. I don't know. Shout out to a TDZ or Cocaine DZ. But we do know cocaine though.
I like DZ. I call my homie Adrian Adreezy.
Oh, no, Cocaine DZ actually produced for a lot of like SoundCloud artists that were really popping off. That ended up popping off. You know, he did like one of Playboy Cardi's very first songs. He did one of 21 Savage first mixtapes, and Trinidad James when Trinidad James was first popped off. So he like shout out to DZ. Like He's a real one, you know. He definitely has like created a lot of like really awesome instrumentals and music. I mean, I heard him as a rapper first. So going back to where I was at, Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker is that's how I was introducing myself for the moment. People were saying 4D, 4DH, and I was gonna go by 4DH for some moments, but I feel like when I searched it up, it didn't show up. It was hard to find. It was like one of those things going to be buried by like 3 pages of random companies that say 4DH on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what else is something that has never been said? 4DHXH. And because Hitchhiker, just 2 H's, you know, and then I just crossed between that. So I thought of those things, but then for the pronunciation, I thought of just like ancient languages, or how would it be said when you see 4DHXH all together, you know? So, you know, I mix a little bit of like whatever I was learning about like Nahuatl pronunciations you know, from between 2016 and 2018, you know. Shout out to Jag and shout out to Jerry Nikodao and all of them. Shout out Native Threat, like all those cats, you know, the indigenous hip hop scene in LA, you know. You know, I have my own stories that were both good and bad with there, but regardless, I appreciate being, you know, doing part of the Red Road overall. I mean, we're literally in Valley Center, you know, Kumeyaay territory, you know. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Hopefully, you know, I am. And, you know, coming from the IE more specifically near Highland, it's like Uwaviatham, you know, or the Sedano, like that's what they call them, you know. But anyways. Aslan, I know. Shout out Aslan Underground or Anawak Underground. I think Anawak was like the main name. And then
homie, this is Lemuria. What you talking about?
Huh?
I said, homie, this is Lemuria. What are you talking about?
Lemuria. Oh my God. See, this is Esoteric Eddie. That's why I was like, diving deep is the part of it. It's just as much.
Nah, I'm just fucking around. But there is a Lemurian fellowship here in Ramona.
Oh wow.
Pretty nice people. The Lemurians are very nice people.
Okay. Yeah. What was I'm trying to think. What did they make the alien race look like from Lemurian?
They're usually.
Were they considered the outer Earth? Like, where they were like, what the people who believe in the flat Earth, they believe it's like the outskirts. There's like an extra outskirts, like layers and shit.
Yeah, Lemuria was basically the sister continent of Atlantis.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then they're basically just white, blonde-haired people.
Oh, those are the ones that some misinterpret as Palladians or Ashtar and all that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I've heard that they're, at least from context, that they and the Draconians are like within the same, within the same planet
homies.
and shit. Yeah.
They're homies.
Oh, definitely. They're definitely energy vampires off of it.
The Lemurians and Draconians are hooking up on the down low.
Well, that's why you see a lot of shape-shifting humans, you know. Maybe the Wendigos walking around. I'll probably say what up to them, but not like try to reach out and touch it, you know. Like, don't if you see a shape-shifting human, just clear your way, you know. Go about your way.
Mind your business.
Yeah, don't let them lure you into their trap.
You don't know what they went through that day.
Right?
Goddamn. Shit.
You never know what they went through that day. Yo, no, it's crazy because yeah, because you know, even then with the Earth, like I still believe Earth in this realm, and we see it's a sphere, and it's likely there's enough holes to see the hollow pieces. You know, I think it's still mostly mantle, but you would have to literally either dig deep or go to the holes that actually lead you to like the ecosystems underneath, because there's so many caves with a ridiculous amount of ecosystems.
That freaks me out, dude. It's cool though.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think one of the biggest. I remember when I got into like the whole 2012 scare back in like.
Oh yeah.
When I was like in middle school, I was like literally like trying to plan like, how are we gonna survive?
Biggest 2012 scare was 2009. That's the funny part,
right?
Know?
So I was like trying to figure out like how are we gonna prepare for this, and I was like looking up like biggest caves in the world, and I think one of them is here in the States in Kentucky or some shit.
Oh, the super cave in Kentucky.
And so like that's like an inner earth entrance, bro, right there. So if need be, if shit goes down, let's all head to Kentucky and fucking bum rush that cave.
I've heard that like even in Shasta too.
Oh yeah, Shasta's got its whole thing. Yeah.
There's just wild entrances. I feel like we never know. Because even LA has a complex set of tunnels that they believe that the Draconians lived in, but you know. I feel like the entrance are such abstract places, you know. You never know. Sometimes it's just a borehole that you drop a coin down there. You'll never hear it. You'll never hear from it again. You know.
Just murk some Draconians. Fucking.
Ow! I'm sitting here, you know.
Right? Look, I got a Draconian head right there.
I see. You ever rock that?
Oh yeah. That was my Halloween mask.
That's your Halloween mask? Okay.
Yeah, a few years back.
Oh my gosh! So, going back to first base. So, you know what's one thing, Toad? So, by the time I was out of college and putting out my first videos, like I was still fourth dimensional hitchhiker at this point. This was before the my bad. So I know I have to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But at that point, I was making a whole lore that this character was summoned by CERN by accident. So you know, I was playing off of that. I was trying to play off of like the whole super collider and their little worship of Shiva mixed with the super collider and accidentally being summoned. Because
did you do like an album with like little cuts and shit about that, or
No, I remember writing the lore and trying to display in this like ARG back at that point in time. But like I said, no one was paying attention to the ARG. So it was just like a series of weird Instagram. Well, it's a cross media reference where you can have you know, like you can have these posts that might mean nothing when you look at it, but there's probably like letters subtly in there, and they make up like a riddle. You know, so you could make a cross media riddle. Some people are so deep into this stuff, they'll have people do coding to find the answer to it. You know, sometimes I think it's like a honeypot for like people to find hackers. Kind of you know. Yeah, to a degree. Like I think
Reddit scavenger hunts.
I would think QAnon is a ARG likely, because I think that was for the campaign for Trump to look a specific way. I think the whole assassination and all that attempts and everything that's tied to that is a really elaborate marketing stunt. You know, so you know and it feels obvious because of the way it was set up. Even when he had to throw his fist up and all that, you know, I just don't believe anything when it comes to him. I you know, he's like a walking WWE skit or something, you know. And he literally is the only one that's been on that and been roasted before that. So all he was doing was predictive programming, you know, before that point, making that entrance, you know.
So what do you think the end goal is with him then?
I mean, I think the end goal is just fulfilling whatever prophecy that he believes he's part of, you know? And I think that a lot of the people in his cult, you know, so the followers, I mean, there's people who could support, you know, him over Kamala, you know, whatever. I was originally supposed to work for a voting support line, but that fell through. But like where I was going with that is that he, you know, he doesn't represent anything but himself. The fact that people think that he cares for them is wild. I think that's the real thing. And you already know that over at least 75% of the politicians don't give a fuck about our wellness at all. You know, only the ones who live maybe amongst us at a local level who care more about their policy than their popularity. Those are the ones maybe to pay attention to. But think about that, I guess, before like really taking the time to vote, you know? Yeah. Don't just vote because you're told to, you know?
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it is silly for any adult to look up to any politician as if they're going to save the world or they're going to save their lives. Now, I don't doubt that he could enact some practical changes for America. Sure. But I'm not like waiting around for it to happen, you know? Like to all the young people out there, you know, who think like our votes don't matter, politics are stupid, or maybe you're on the other spectrum where you think that your vote does matter and you need to vote for this person because if you don't, then the world's going to end. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure that does matter is what you do with yourself.
Yeah, because America's all by design. It's made to come up and crumble, just like any other nation and government that exists.
America is the pimp of the world, dude.
Yeah,
America is the pimp of the world. You know, it's like the dream. Like, let's make this shit happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even just diving deep into like Latino America and Central America, learning that Mitt Romney and George H.W. Bush having a huge grip over the trade in those countries to make the death squads and the cartels work together, and you know, and these uprisings happening as a symptom of that, you know, like all those things, you know, correlate to what happens today, or why there's this immigration crisis that people are so concerned with when in reality this is the reaping the fruits of what America brought out there, you know, especially just for people just for specific corporations to have a lot of bananas.
Yeah.
Just for bananas. Such dumb reasons these things happen. And Zionism reigning over trying to reign over the Middle East with the genocides happening, and that as a result of America playing or America and vested interest, because the corporations have much shadow power, placing the pawns on each connection of power, you know. So I mean, they created that, you know, they wanted that Zionism to build and collapse just because then they have access to all the resources left behind. You know what I mean? And it's just wild that like World War III is unfolding as we speak, but like, you know, I don't think Americans can see it because we're already living in the bubble of it, you know? So
yeah, it's like we're on the edge of World War III, and all of this possibly could have started because we needed more bananas. You know, it's like the butterfly effect, right?
Ooh.
It's like, it's really that silly, dude. I think God is a comic, you know, and I think life is a tragic comedy, but it's more of a comedy than it is tragic. You know, and it's really that fucking funny.
The conspiracy theory is a conspiracy in itself.
Yeah, it's really that funny, dude. Like, you know, here comes man, right? Man is given the world by God. And then man says, well, let's commodify the world. And then to his surprise, the world gets destroyed through that commodification. And now he's fighting himself. And the whole time God's sitting back like, yes, you guys know, like all of this shit was free to begin with, right?
Yeah, the earth.
So, like, you guys didn't realize that, you know? So it's just all silly games, dude, every day, day in and day out.
Yeah. Well, based off of, because I really, you know, took a vested interest. I mean, I in your content, you know, I saw the one with the, you know, that showed like the many dimensions to the trans agenda. You know, and for those who don't understand, like, think of the transhumanist context first. If you want to look deeper and understand, you know, so it's not just like, oh, this is just some LGBTQ stuff, you know, like, I obviously consider myself part of that community, but more of like just an outlier, you know, not just someone who, you know, I would rock the South American flag with the rainbow colors over the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. That's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is that, going back, so to the transhumanism agenda, you presented many different spaces of it because you wanted to show, okay, there's a point of view. I'm presenting this point of view, and they believe this on that. Yeah. But some people just interpreted that this was his narrative on that. You know, that was the funniest thing about a lot of people's response to that video. Yeah. Or a lot of them who agreed with you on the first part because they're like, oh yeah, he really talking about is two genders and the trans are trying to infiltrate and change that. But then you went into actually the occult side of how God is genderless, and people being a reflection of that and being the highest version of themselves, evolving to the highest version of themselves without a depiction of gender, or even the old world shaman really was just between, you know, like at least when we think in the indigenous sense, a two-spirit, you know, that's, I identify with that a bit more, you know, personally.
Let me explain this real quick, and I want to get into that. Yeah, for people who don't know what we're talking about. So I just recently released a documentary on my channel. You can go check it out. It's called, I don't know, something about transgender movement or something. But I made a documentary.
Transagenda, I think?
Yeah, transagenda.
Maybe, yeah.
I made a documentary, as 4D was saying, just diving into this question of the quote-unquote trans movement. The trans movement, where did the modern trans movement really come from, academically speaking? What are their true motives? How does it blend in, or how does it correlate, I should say, to the philosophy of the classical occultists, and how does it correlate to where civilization is moving? I mean, this is probably one of the most unprecedented changes we've ever seen. I've never seen this. I literally witnessed this happen in my lifetime. You know, all these changes with genders, all these changes with laws having to do with genders, the pronouns, the amount of children who are transitioning, the amount of children who are getting on medicines and surgeries, all of this, the decline in the birth rate, all of that is new. It is unprecedented. And so I was literally genuinely curious, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, where is this all coming from? Why now? And so I wanted to dive into that the same way I dive into anything, just as an academic perspective, unbiased as possible. And that documentary is a result of that. And as 4D was saying, when I dropped it, I got so many mixed responses, mostly negative responses, actually.
Yeah, because people feel so strongly about it, to the point where it's either this is the front of my identity, or this is the ultimate threat to my identity. You know? They don't feel anywhere in between, or they don't understand, or a lot of people don't understand themselves and the dimensions of their own sexuality and orientation and how they express themselves, you know, and you know, it takes a lifetime to figure that out. Sometimes it's just fluid. You know, if you really feel one way or the other, you know, it's okay to explore that, you know. It's not to just defy your very existence, you know. I think it's really just trying to exist at the end of the day as the person that you feel like you are, you know.
Yeah, so you identify with as being non-binary, or like you...
I have I'd say that like for some time I was more lenient in that motion, but I think it was also partially because there was a level of masculinity that needed to be healed. You know, I don't feel anything as non-binary, at least not at this point. I know probably like last year a little more, you know, on and off type of thing. It really depends how I felt at that point, you know. Yeah. And
so what did that?
You know, because I feel like a shaman, like, you know, a shaman, a samurai, shaman and samurai. Like samurais, like they're hidden in the shadows. They're not concerned with what gender they appear as. They're a shadow. Yeah. You know, like, yeah. So, you know, so even then, even if you think of like the top of society and the hidden occult parts of society and the very elite, they have their own identification with that, or the decolonized aspects of it. So, I identify with the two-spirit in some sense, where like I've had experiences where I've seen a past life, you know, as a female and elder female that was about to die, and then like I came back, I was completely sober at this. I swear to God, that's the craziest part. No, all my weirdest.
So what was it, like a vision, or was it just like a thought, or what happened like when you saw that?
You know, you imagine like the unplugging of your surrogate. So you unplugging the surrogate. Like they were doing a lot of Reiki. I was at a Shumei garden in LA, and they were doing a lot of the little channeling with their hands, a little Reiki. But you know, in the midst of the prayer and the ambiance, like I froze up. Next thing I know, I was awake in that other life. Whoa. And I just saw like, like I was dreaming this whole time, and I'm just the elder lady walking down the road. What's going on? You know, I'm like, this could have been a weird ass lucid dream if someone wants to rationally explain it, but it was so real that within like whatever long sequence was that, I finally woke up and snapped out of it, you know, and just like, okay, that was like the closest thing to a past life experience I may have had, you know?
So my question, do you feel, or did you feel you were non-binary because of that experience?
That experience, I think I reflected that the whole idea of a two-spirit being. Yeah, I felt like doubt, like of living past lives and examining that made me feel like I was not of the binary. So I wasn't. I fully identify as non-binary at that point, but I just felt like I was not of the binary. I'm not trying to fulfill what makes me a man, you know, or trying to be a woman. Yeah. And that's where I was at in that sort
whatever
of thing.
You like, whatever you want to be, you want to be.
Yeah. And I had a lot of partners that were either just fully non-binary in documents and name change, or just trans in general. So, you know, I know most, you know.
That's the interesting thing though, like, you know, because I mean, that's true. I mean, the soul, what gender is the soul? What color is the soul? A soul is none of those things and all of those things. So, I mean, honestly, like, as Buddha teaches, right, it's like as we get older, we need to let go of things, let go of identities. And one of the last identities there is to let go of is the ego. And so it's like hard as it is to fathom.
The ego of what makes you a man and the ego of what makes you a woman is so like deep.
Some people are so insecure about that. We have to be okay with that. And so, I don't know, like, shit, maybe I was a woman in a past life. I don't know. But, you know, I guess I'd have to be okay with that. Why not? You know, maybe I was a badass woman, you know what I mean? Shit.
But, know.
You know
sometimes it's even
maybe I was a dirty little whore.
Sometimes maybe even what you reflect within what you were able to get for traits wise from your parents. Yeah. You know, or
I like that though.
Or ancestors and
I do like that, you know what I mean? Because like I feel like when we come into this life, it's almost like a mission, right? Like we lose our memory. I feel like before we come into these lives, you know, we're like a badass light being, a genderless light being. And it's just like, yo, like soul number 555. It's time for you to go back to earth. Like, all right, I got this. Memory being erased. Like jump in, jump in,
downloading the upload.
Yeah.
It's trippy because I had 3 UFO experiences last year that were ridiculously profound and just like all happening within 1 month span.
Damn.
Nothing else happened the year after or before, you know. So but I'm just gonna go over the third UFO experience.
Yeah.
But I was out at a ranch, so think of like kind of how remote this is out here, but like maybe even further remote because it was dead. Like all the phone lines were dead. But it was next to the Tule River near Sequoia, so I'm there. Like, you know, I'm there when the storm hits and I'm alone in there and I had to clean up the ranch when the storm hit. But after I was done cleaning up, I remember like I was just getting I was feeding donkeys with a bunch of carrots. Like I had a bag of carrots and walking to it. And the thing is, there's nothing else out there. We're off the grid. My phone's pretty much dead. And I look, and from behind the mountain, it was a beam of light just went right straight into the sky. It split into 25 separate light beings, and it went directly over my head. And I'm just all like, do I believe this right now? Like, you know, this is really happening right now? And I was like, you know what? I had 2 other UFO experiences where there were probably most likely government aircrafts or just some other weird extraterrestrial flying above me. But this time around, it was the light beings that I feel like reflected what you could see in the stars, what you could see within the world, you know? I have no explanation of what it is, but when I saw it and go directly over my head, like, why would it go anywhere else in the sky? It could go anywhere else in the sky. Like, I'm like, am I that much of a narcissist? No, 25 different light beings. Like, I'm sorry. If I fudge the numbers, I mean, it was somewhere between 25 and 30. I don't know.
Fudging the numbers.
So, but it was plenty in a line. That's the thing. They went in a line too.
Right over your head.
So like, yeah. So they it's like seeing the beam of light split into each. And then it went over, and I'm just all like,
well, what do you think that was for?
On one hand, I was like, if you want to take me up, then take me up. Like,
You're like,
I'm okay
please.
with that. I was okay with that. On the other hand, I know, right? Demure. As I was happening, I was like, either take me up or I just felt like it was a good sign in some way or another. Like, I'm doing maybe probably what I was supposed to do at that point, you know?
Yeah.
So, despite me not doing the temazcal that I originally was going to go out there for, doing the sweat and stuff, because I mean, even then, knowing Steven, now I could do sweats more closely in Crestline instead of going to Sequoia.
I played shows with Steven back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He probably doesn't remember me. I don't know, but that's when I was a Professed MC.
Professed MC. Okay.
Yeah.
And was he already Steven the Martyr?
He was still there. He was
Okay. That's funny. That's fire. Yeah. No, he's a really dope performer. He hasn't performed in a while, the specific stuff, but I definitely would get talking to him and remind him that Profess.
That'd be cool.
I was chopping up with Profess, who's got this thing going on.
Yeah, it would be dope to chop it up with him, dude. That'd be tight.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you. Once I know, like he knows, and then I'll give you guys each other's.
Yeah, contacts. I'm not sure what's going on now, but I remember he was dating MC Char. I think they ended up having a kid together too.
Char, I don't think I've came across. MC Char.
Yeah, I think they split up or something.
But he does have a kid. He does have a kid. I think he named her after like Drama of the Galaxy.
Oh no!
I was like, that's pretty cool.
That's dope. Cool. Yeah, I remember that because that's when I was still like active in that scene, and so I kind of saw it on social media. Like, oh, that's cool. They got together, had a kid, and everything. But I'm just bringing that up.
Was this scene that you were in at that time? Were they like into the love and light shit? Okay. Because it's funny because another discussion because I know a lot of people their first impression nowadays of the love and light type of rappers is like the Shannon Blake or something.
Oh, that wasn't it.
Like
nah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they see a Shannon Blake and then they think that's what it is. That's what it encompasses. But I think what I saw within that scene, because, of course, there was that level of consciousness and there was a level of gatekeeping in that whole mold. Like you think of community healing and all them, and like, while I could say that, people who are in the ceremonies or in the psychedelics, they're more welcome. But the thing is, the scene was still powered by the same amount of capitalism that they would likely advocate against. And that was like, I think that was the biggest issue, because there was a lot of people who were selling stuff for way beyond the budget of the people who were coming there. It's it's an LA spot, but people were, and which is like, okay, you gotta charge for your work, you gotta charge for your work. Yeah, of course, there's no doubt about that.
I got this twig that I wrap copper around, fucking $40, like, or whatever, dude.
I know. It's interesting to see the discourse in those places, because, I think every music scene or scenes or any cultures have their own flaws within it, and examining that and being able to maneuver around it is the main necessary thing to do, not just demean, because we're all human, we're all human. We all have needs and such, But yeah, I think when it came to the love and light scene, there was a lot of level of consumerism and capitalism that was applied, that was directly a contradiction to everything they stood for. And I think that's why I involved myself a little less and less. But it was it's interesting seeing Shannon Blake being the most blatant version of that.
She's the horrifying extreme.
She's the Lumerian. She's the Lumerian shapeshifter.
I'm not trying to bash her as a person.
No,
probably a really dope chick, probably a really dope person, but I just mean, the persona. Yeah, go ahead. I just mean that's like to me, the horrifying paragon of how gosh, I wish I knew a good word, but basically a more polite word, I would say. But basically, to me, the horrifying paragon of just how commodifying that stuff can become, because it's just so blatant, as you're saying. It's like, bro, ain't no love and light. You know what I mean? Ain't no love and light. It's fucking there's money and a light bill. That's the love and light. You know what I mean?
Yo, for real.
Yo, cash and light bills. That's all there really is. Shit.
As an artist, it's like I said, I want to make a living doing what I love doing. I'm just gonna keep saying that until it happens, But but there's that constant reminder, just I have to be real with how life is if I just explain it in the music. So I'm not just playing up to an image or a character that I want to portray.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to act. I did acting for a few years, back in my childhood years, and
yeah, go ahead. I'm just grabbing you the ashtray.
No, of course. I did a lot of acting in my childhood years, and oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And
notice the ashtray?
Yep, I see the little Freemasonry work going on. That's nasty work, my friend. So let me remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, acting.
What acting taught me. So what acting taught me was just that. So there was a line that it was a Shakespearean line. The world's a stage.
I love that line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember knowing the whole monologue. I don't remember it verbatim, okay? So don't get mad at me. I'm just going to put the cliff notes of it here. This is the fact that, how life in itself is an act that you put on, because, some people most people are hiding their faces when it comes to, knowing the proximity of other people, because, there's a lot, clearly people have things they do when no one else is looking. And one thing I was doing when no one else was looking was beatboxing all the time. And
really?
Yeah, and making lyrics and making weird sounds
yeah.
So I saw that in myself and understood that this is what this is where we're on. And oh my gosh, hold on.
Well, you think about that. I just wanted to touch on that too. Going back to the Shannon Blake thing,
oh yeah.
I'm also not against people getting that money. I'm not against people, performing, putting an act on, as you're saying, acting, I
think I think this is where the point was coming. Sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah.
Sorry to any comments who's just this guy just interrupts. He's annoying. You got to stop talking over people.
Shot for every time he interrupts.
Oh my God. They're gonna RIP to the one who does. Where I was going with that was just with putting on an act for the rest of the world, especially considering the advent of social media and its growth, it's just that people were so repulsed in a way, because when you're acting holier than thou, like you have all the knowledge in a sense that is like when you display that you have all the knowledge, but you're contradicting yourself in the display of the image of it. That's when people are so, I guess most of the internet was not receptive to it. That's why you see like the comments, Lockheed Martin or something, you know? And I think I remind myself, I'm not presented as all knowing, because I literally have lyrics where I say I'm just as intelligent. I mean,
just as intelligent as we are, is just as dumb as we can be.
Yeah, as dumb as it can be. Like I literally just stupid smart, and and sometimes that knowledge can't be fully expressed in a way that's digestible. Just because the person can't display that knowledge in a way that's digestible doesn't mean it's not some valid thought and insight that someone has. So some people are a lot more insightful than you can imagine. You can look at them and be like, this person might not know shit, but they really be knowing something.
They be knowing something, yeah.
They be tapped in, even if their mind is just not well or there.
Yeah.
So respect to all the people who are struggling through that, Yeah. Like, respect to the people who are struggling through that, and I hope it's okay for them at the end of the road when it comes to dealing with the mental battles that we constantly go through. Like I'm hoping that we all heal, as time goes. Like as long as we can heal, it'd be a beautiful thing,
Yeah. On that note, there's two things I wanted to ask you, at least before we wrap this up.
Yes.
This one's going all the way back to the name, but I'm genuinely curious. When was the first time that you pronounced it?
So remember,
here's the thing. So when did you first pronounce it? Trying to save these people from taking shots right now.
Yes.
But when did you first pronounce it, and like, how did that feel? Like, oh shit, I got something with this. Like, what was that crowning moment like?
Okay, so I mixed the Nahuatl, my idea of Sumerian.
Oh, it goes the light.
My idea of Sumerian language. Yes, it's not really what Sumerians were speaking. I maybe just channeling as deep as I could, but came about when I saw the 4D-HXH and trying to figure out like how would that be pronounced, and combining what I thought of those languages, or would the sound of those languages. I combined the 4D like for, and the HXH as like, and then like, so when I combine those sounds together, it makes a I know. I've done it for so long. Okay, and the thing is, like, I wanted it to be a tag through my songs.
Yeah.
To where before I started a rhyme, then I say the name, and then
that'd be hard.
My trademark with that. I was doing that since like 2018.
Oh, okay.
So 2018 is when I was first really starting to pronunciate it, and then when I was out there performing, like I'm like, I really can abbreviate my name instead of saying Fourth Dimensional Hitchhiker Out. Like someone hears that, and it just it clicks a brain. Like it clicks a brain. They think I'm beatboxing maybe, but
they're like, hey, there goes the homie. Yeah, dude, that's cool. That's cool.
Combine my interpretation of ancient languages, channeling, and hearing like how I wanted to sound on the music, and to add to my sound like just like that little cherry on top,
Yeah.
No,
what I mean? I love it.
Yeah. The little cortido.
Yeah. You're like, I mean, like a whole new identity was born, a whole new icon, and I know what it's like to like create an icon, an identity, an alias, a persona, and it's like you're carrying that, and it's like you can integrate it into you. It's almost like an armor or something you put on, like like fucking Iron Man or some shit. Like you're walking around like that 4D thing, egregore it's like its own separate thing, but you integrate it and you put it on and you're walking around with it. But at the end of the day, it's like it's just another tool, another thing that we integrate. Because again, as we start to leave this realm, all those things start to come off of us. That's actually the reason why I stopped. One of the reasons I stopped rapping and involving myself in the scene is because I felt like that armor was too heavy on me at that point. You know, it was, or not heavy, but it was like old. It was like old. Like I was looking at my professed MC persona that I had created. And I was like, this is old. Like,
what was the most defining factor of you?
I remember the moment, dude. I remember the moment. It was just another local show at the Oceanside Sports Bar. Oceanside Sports Bar. Another local show, another night. Another night that my girl was anxious that I was out there performing, you know, just like, you know, just all of it. And I remember like I just got off stage and did my thing and I'm just like looking around and I felt empty. I felt empty. I felt like my purpose as professed MC had been fulfilled. I felt like I wasn't gaining anything from it anymore. I just wasn't like that. Without the energy I was giving, I wasn't getting back anymore. So it's just like this overwhelming feeling of emptiness. And I just ultimately felt that I was not professed MC anymore. As hard as it is for some people to hear that.
And can you spell it out? Just because I hear profess or professed. I'm trying to.
Yeah, so it's PROFESSED.
Oh, professed.
Professed.
And then MC, just the whole word spelled out, or MC?
Just MC.
Okay.
Professed MC. I have it tattooed on my foot, actually. I did it myself.
Oh, that's dope. You did your own tattoo art?
No, just the one on my foot.
Just the only one? That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, that's for the OnlyFans.
But yeah.
That's for the Patreon.
But I appreciate the persona that you've been able to manifest and create and hold here for us, because you got to hold it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's holding it, integrating it, you know.
The little machine elf, you know what I mean?
Around, yeah, like, so I understand, you know, that part. But, all right, I think the last question I want to ask you, you said this earlier, and I'm just, again, curious. You said that you got into the non-binary space because you felt like your masculine needed to be healed.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to know, like, why did you feel like your masculine needed to be healed, and what did you do to heal it?
I see, yeah. Well, so the whole Temazcal getting into the sweat, like, earlier this year, was, like, a big piece of that, because a lot of it were, like, men's healing circles and such, and sometimes there's that, like, it's just the act of going back to your default settings. And so that's why I was like, okay, the masculinity needed to be healed, because I still felt like, you know, symptoms of the low self-esteem and maybe hating being in this specific body or space with some of the shortcomings, you know? It's not just, being what makes you a man, but, you know, just the feeling low in self-esteem because you're not fulfilling of what they say it means to be a man.
So you're like, fuck it, I'm not a man then. I'm a non-binary.
I said like cyborg, cyboy. I was saying some wild shit. I was like, I said zeroid kuskaleka, like on my business card. Said zeroid kuskaleka cyboy. Or just
I've never seen that on Tinder, bro.
Right? No, I know, right? I was saying I was a machine elf. Like, I said so many random things. Or like, I think on one video said gender Grinch. I don't know. Like, I was really out there. I mean, some people see my profile, they'll see, I think they see the pronoun just Z, like XE, XIR, and then E. -YE.
You're like, yo, I'm a Z. You're like, what?
No, so a lot of times I would do. I know this is corny, but the whole, instead of I, you put EYE when you're saying I. So I was doing that, or the 3 I's for a bit, and sometimes I just did the I emoji instead of saying I.
Yeah, I. You're like, I'm a Z. You're like, you're a what? Like, not literally, I'm a Z. You're like fucking shaped like a Z. Like, what up, dude? I'm a Z.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, dude, I like that. You know, I recently went through a path where I had to heal my masculine For, I mean, different reasons. I felt like I was like, I guess what they say, toxic masculinity. I don't know. I'd only been in one major relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a marriage, a failed marriage. And, you know, we had a lot of toxic moments, a lot of bad shit happened. And so I felt like I didn't.
Hey, but I appreciate you being open about, you know, every, you know, details that you might have felt.
Yeah, I gotta stand on my mistakes. I gotta, you know, stand on my mistakes, stand on my trespasses and things that I've done, the evils that I've done, the sins that I've done, you know, stand on those. But also know that those aren't me. Those are things that I did, you know, and out of respect for the people that I hurt, you know, admit the things that I did, you know. But I had to heal myself as a man because I felt like I didn't have a healthy relationship with the feminine. I feel like I didn't really know how to properly carry the feminine energy in my life, like the women in my life. I didn't know how to properly take care of them and stuff like that. And so I had to go back and learn how to, and that actually happened recently. And it's funny because when I took the time to heal that, when I was going to meditations and I started to like practice not just like physical celibacy, it wasn't extreme. I was still hooking up, but like being more selective. Yeah. You're not so doggish, like, yo, you know what I mean? But I was also being like mentally celibate. Like I was trying to regulate my thoughts, like not just like checking out chicks left and right. And if one of them did catch my eye, not go to like grotesque places in my mind, you know, like really, really trying to change myself from the inside out. Like changing the way I thought about women, changing the way that I saw women and talked to them. And it got to the point where some of my women friends, the new women friends that came into my life, well, here's the funny thing. When I did that, a whole bunch of new women entered my life.
Oh, I see.
And I just attracted them. And I was like, oh, shit. And it was, but I maintained my discipline. And it got to such a point.
Discipline is real, man.
It got to such a point where some of them would ask me if I was gay. They're like, why are you not hitting on me? Like, are you gay? And I'm just like, what? Like, I'm just being respectful. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to hit on every chick. I don't need to flirt with every chick. I don't need to fuck every chick. You know what I mean?
Well, I heard a bar where someone's like, she thought I was gay, but I was just focused or something.
That's just hard.
I don't know. I still, like I said, I'm queer out in the open. Like that's nothing to hide. But but it's probably like gender nonconforming or just fluid. You know, you know, like it could go. You know, I haven't done anything too feminine per se, but I just feel like there's points where I was bridging that gap when in certain performances going like. Coming in and skirting long boots or something. But some people just like, they're so taken back by that. Their straightness will just go into question and they're just trying to like poke at me or something. Like, I'm like, why you rubbing your finger there? I wouldn't do that to you if you were dressed like a girl. Weird, like, I don't know. So it's funny how the world reacts to, you know, some form of cross-dressing. I feel like I was doing that a little more, more towards last year. I think this year I just kind of been just trying to keep like when the masculinity healed, I felt just more inclined to just kind of wear what I was comfortable in. I dressed up a little bit for this thing just because it's a special occasion. The fact that I'm even part of the Everyday Esoteric podcast, you know. So
appreciate
honestly, that's it's just love. Like there's just love from a place of both pain and healing that we're getting to, you know.
Yes, brother. Well, hey, man, this has been awesome. We could do so many more of these. We're definitely going to have you back on. Yeah. Before we go, man, what do you want to say to the people? Do you want to drop some bars, some wisdom, a little bit of both?
I'll give a little acapella
Let's do it.
Something. Yeah, I got an acapella. I freestyled this in my sleep when I had the beat playing, and you know, I freestyled in my sleep. It was something Guy Kid Process produced. Shout out Kid Process once again. Yeah. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the beat. I'll probably send the beat through the mail, and then you can hear a little bit of it live. So. This predicament I could have never predicted. Painful indecisions are becoming self-inflicted. My mama pointed out my arrogance to sit and listen. Sometimes when he spoke to me, I'm looking too deep within. The pain and the judgment, all the ways I feel it lurking. How we're suffering in silence, sitting behind all these curtains. I feel you with a piece of me, a parallel Persian. Trying to find the healing in our purpose. I've been so uncertain when my path has gotten muddy. I understand the difficulties pleasing everybody. I'm just thankful to wake up to days becoming sunny. As is deep within my heart from places that are loving. Can you trust me? We can change for the better. If everything is heavenly, then we can last forever. Can you trust me? We can go and pull the lever. If we're healing readily, let's do all that together, no doubt.
No doubt.
I know I messed up one line. That line was I promising you we will find the healing in our purpose. So that's where I like fumbled.
Perfect way to end it, dude.
Yeah.
Perfect way to end it. Yeah. Together we will find our purpose and our healing.
Yes, together.
Well, look, thanks everybody. You know what it is. Everyday Esoteric. We love y'all. Thanks for hanging out.
Likewise, even though the light is out, we went way beyond the time.
Peace.
Thank you. 4DHXH. Check it out on all platforms and such.
Everything's going to be in the description below. Follow the homie.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, follow the cyborg Z guy.
Zeroid Zero. I remember I said Zeroid back then. Esoteric Eddie, Everyday Esoteric Podcast.
Yo,
Thank you for being here and showing us love and staying the whole way through. One love. Out.
Peace.